Let's see.
We are now unmuted.
That's not me now.
Okay, I think we're waiting for just one or two more.
Jay and Tina?
Tina will not be here.
Okay.
So I think we're just waiting on Jay, if you want to give him a few more minutes, but we do have a quorum, Andrew.
Okay. Well, we'll give him another minute or two and then we'll get going.
Okay. And Bill is here with us in the district office, by the way.
Okay.
He's just being quiet, so the owl hasn't seen him yet.
I don't have a computer.
Doo-doo.
Do we have Tina yet?
Mm. I'm not seeing her on the participants list.
Sammy, do you know if they're coming?
No, they have already let us know that they will not be here tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Who's that? Who's that?
Okay, well, Jay will either get here or he won't. 6:33, we have a quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this meeting of the Corvallis School District Budget Committee for May 27th of 2021 to order. We are streaming live on the district's YouTube channel, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, that's what my thing says. So it looks like the first order of business is following up from last meeting. So does anybody have anything, is there anything from staff that want to bring up first? Okay,
Yeah.
Olivia, I see you nodding your head.
Yes, I have two things to follow up on. One, I just wanted to let everyone know we did separate some components of the budget document and posted those online on our website. So we separated the executive summary and the superintendent's budget message and the plan for supporting equitable learning recovery, the components of our budget that align with our board goals. So we did separate those things and post those on the website to make it easier for smaller bits of information to be more accessible. And then there was also a question that came up last week around of all of the new investments that we went through last week. I believe Therese had asked about the difference between things that were one-time type of investments or limited term, or things that were going to be ongoing investments. So I wanted to kind of give a summary of that. So all of the investments totaled just over 65 FTE and about $8.5 million. The majority of the investment, 56%, is what we're considering limited term, so it won't be continued after the next 2 years. About 31% of those investments will be considered ongoing, and those are primarily funded by ongoing resources, including the SIA grant, the Title IIA grant, the High School Success Grant, the local option levy, and the Title ID grant. There are a couple of items that are sort of to be determined still. We are going to continue the Corvallis online option next year. Whether that will be ongoing in perpetuity is sort of still to be determined. We'll be evaluating that in the fall once we have a better picture of what the enrollment in that program, in that school looks like. And then student family advocates are proposed in next year's budget. That's under wraparound supports and increasing staffing to connect families with resources within the community. The proposed budget includes 2 FTE funded with the ESSER fund grants, which are limited term resources. Those are potentially positions we may prioritize and shift to the student investment account grant 2 years from now. But again, we'll be analyzing how those resources are utilized over the next year before we make that kind of decision. And then one of the final investments under investing in facilities includes some additional staffing related to our custodial team. Because this is sort of in alignment with the completion of some of our bond projects, we may need to be adjusting custodial staffing in the future. And so this is something that we may continue to more than 2 years from now, but it's still kind of to be determined based on some other factors. So those 3 things are sort of kind of still under evaluation. And then the limited term investments are all related to the ESSER fund grants and the summer academic support grants. And I would say with summer academic support grants, we will continue to operate summer programming beyond this year, but we'll just utilize the funding that we've used in the past. And so kind of going back to the mechanisms that we had in place prior to these new resources being available to us. So I wanted to kind of just cover that. And then I did get 3 questions that I wanted to go over real quick since I got those a couple of days ago. One of the questions was around pre-kindergarten programs. And so in the past, we have had outside programs like Head Start utilizing some of our classrooms. And in previous years, we've entered into facility use agreements with those organizations. And we had those programs at Adams, Lincoln, and Mountain View elementary schools. We didn't have any of those programs operating in our schools this year due to the pandemic. But we do anticipate that in the fall, we will maintain those facility use agreements with KidCo Head Start. And again, looking at Adams, Lincoln, and Mountain View, and also being able to use space at Garfield Elementary, which wasn't an option prior to the bond project being completed there. So don't currently have any pre-kindergarten programs operating in the district facilities, but we will. We do plan there to be some next year. I also had a question about the construction program of study, one of the new investments outlined for next year. So the proposed construction pathway will be a 2-year program specifically for juniors and seniors, and will serve a cohort of 15 students starting next year. And that program will operate out of the Harding Center. So we've developed a coursework progression, which includes program-specific courses and the continued progression of courses for graduation requirements. And we're currently recruiting a qualified teacher for this program and purchasing some equipment as the preliminary steps to develop the program. One of the desired outcomes of the program is to establish a partnership with Corvallis Housing First and have students build micro shelters to provide housing for people experiencing homelessness. We currently have several CTE programs at both of our comprehensive high schools. At CHS, we have early childhood education, manufacturing, automotive, digital arts, computer science, and forestry. And at Crescent Valley High School, we have health sciences, culinary arts, design and applied arts, information support and services, and pre-engineering. We also have some other CTE programs of study and development, a culinary arts program at Corvallis High School. We're currently updating equipment for that classroom and supporting a teacher to get her CTE endorsement. And then an agricultural sciences program, plant-based at Crescent Valley High School. And we're currently working to update the greenhouse at that school and develop community partnerships. And we also have, we're also looking into an arts, AV, technology and communications program, a film program at Crescent Valley. We already have most of the desired equipment for that program and a teacher that is CTE endorsed in that program. And so those are other programs currently in development that we're exploring. It takes about a year for a program to be approved by ODE to go through the process of becoming an approved program of study. And so we're still in process with those. And then the final question I got was about librarians in the district. Do any of our schools have certified librarians? And do our technical library staff have access to a certified librarian? So the proposed budget does include a 1 FTE certified librarian. That position serves as our district-wide librarian and supports the 10.5 FTE classified staff throughout our schools who work as library media technicians. In the past, this library position has been provided through LBL ESD as a service to the district, but in 21-22, the position is going to be filled by the district as a district employee. So that is a change, and it is reflected on page 93 of the budget document. You'll see under the 2200 function how in prior years there have been 0 expenditures under the licensed salaries object, and the proposed budget for next year does include a budget for a certified position. So those are the follow-ups I have.
Looks like Therese has a question.
Thank you. So I appreciate those updates. I have 2 questions. One is about the CTE, the update that you just provided. So my question is about whether or not there is, or to what extent is there articulation with Lynn Benton Community College for some of the programs, the CTE programs that overlap with associates tracks that LBCC offers. Has that happened? Has that conversation, is that conversation taking place? I don't know who would know the answer to that.
So maybe between Melissa and I, we can cover that one. I would say that it varies program to program based on sort of the length of the program, that the length of the program has been in place. But I would say it's a little bit varied. Anything you would want to add to that, Melissa?
I know that our post-secondary coordinator, Linda Gregory, is responsible for, the CTE programs, and she's working with a group of like leaders in the area, and I can check in with her to see what that connection looks like between that group and LBCC.
Okay, that's something that I would, not in relation to the budget or approving the budget, but would be something I would like to hear more about. There were a couple of programs in particular that you highlighted, the development of a culinary program, the construction program as well, knowing that we have an institution right next door to us that provides degree programs for those. I'm just curious about the alignment will a student that goes through the culinary program at Corvallis High School be better prepared for entrance and acceptance into the LBCC program, for example? So just things like that, just to see that what's the relationship communication like between those two entities. So, and then my second question was just, you said 10.5 district librarian or library media tech, is that right? So but I'm counting schools. And so 10.5 doesn't add up to all the schools we have. So where is there not a full librarian or media tech?
Sure. Our elementary schools, those positions are 6.5 hour per day positions.
Oh, right. So, okay, that makes sense.
Very technical.
No, it is. I realize that the FTE is on the actual FTE schedule. I just went with bodies and I was like, who doesn't have somebody then? It's late. I got it. Thank you. I'm good.
So for people that don't quite understand that bit, it's basically every FTE is an 8-hour position. And so 6.5 hours doesn't add up to 13. It adds up to less than that. So that's how that looks. And again, one of the things that I shared last time was that 2 years ago, we increased the time at our elementary schools from what had been halftime. Again, based on quite a bit of advocacy from our media assistants.
I'll unmute myself. Are there any other questions for staff? From anybody? No? Okay, that's good. So now,
Wait.
oh, Lou. And then Sammy.
Are we on item 2 or 3 on the agenda?
We are still on item 2. I was about to move to item 3, committee discussion and whatnot.
I'll just leave my hand up for that.
Okay, so
I'll re-raise it.
Okay, so Sammy, then Lou, I guess.
All right, so my question is, assuming the $9.3 billion dollar for the general fund, coming for the state general fund, do we assume that in the next year, the second year of the biennium, that we will be tapping into the same amounts of reserves? And if so, are we going to still stay above board threshold for reserves?
Yeah, based on the financial projections and looking at the different scenarios between 9.1 billion, 9.3 billion, and 9.6 billion, at 9.3 billion, we'd still be operating at a deficit, but it just wouldn't be as large as it is currently planned. We would still maintain all of our reserves at the levels required by board policy. And, we'd obviously have additional revenue coming into the general fund. And I think based on the outcomes of a lot of the other unknown assumptions in our budget, we would look to those things as they sort of reconcile out to see if we have the capability to make any adjustments.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for follow-ups from last meeting before we move to discussions and questions for today? No? Okay, so Lou, you were the first one with your hand up for that sort of stuff, so take it away.
I don't know if it would have actually been from the last meeting follow-up or this one, so I guess it's good I'm going first. I just had a question about the revisions to the packet that were sent in, because those haven't been updated on the district webpage and for the budget packet itself. And I was curious if those were going to be posted after we approve anything or before, or like what's going on with the edits is, I guess, my question.
I think she's talking about the edits to the document itself.
Yeah, the budget packet itself, the doc, yeah.
The document itself and some of the corrections we're going to make. Yeah, we'll make those corrections before the adopted budget is put together. We don't maintain a record of the proposed budget. Once the budget is adopted, we're required to maintain that record for 20 years. And so that becomes kind of the official record. So we'll make sure that all of those corrections and the grammaticals and typos get addressed for that final publication.
Okay, thanks. Is there, in case there's community following along with that and they didn't see those, especially because like the board goals in particular are stated differently than what they actually are. And I think that's like a important piece of the packet along with some other things, but.
Yes. Mhm. And the adopted budget document does get posted on the district website. And at that time, the proposed budget document isn't available anymore. And so it kind of supersedes the proposed budget document.
It'll be
Okay,
in
thanks.
the packet.
Oh, and for the June 10th board meeting, the board is scheduled to adopt the budget. We'll have like the final version of that for the June 10th board meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any more discussion or questions or requests for information from any member of the board that they wish to engage in before we move to trying to actually approve this thing? Seeing nobody raising their hand, I will then invite a motion to get this thing approved. Vince.
Thank you. I move that the Corvallis School District budget for 2021-22 in the aggregate amount of $330,446,650 for all funds be approved.
Second,
Is there a second? Who said that?
Therese.
Therese. Okay, so we have a duly made motion by Vince and seconded by Therese. At this point, I believe the thing says we need to do this roll call. So if the secretary could call the roll.
Sammy,
Aye.
Vince,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Josh,
Aye.
Jay is not here. Bill,
Aye.
Andrew,
Oh, I get a vote. Aye.
Margaret. I think she said aye. Yes, okay. Therese,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Stravia,
Aye.
Shauna,
Aye.
Lou,
Aye.
all right. The motion passes with 12 yeses and 2 absentees.
Okay, huzzah. That brings us then to levying for some tax rates. So once again, I would invite a motion to do that.
I move that the permanent tax rate of $4.4614 per $1,000 of assessed value be levied for operating purposes, that a local option tax rate of $1.50 per $1,000 of assessed value be levied in support of the general fund, and that a tax amount of $14,598,585.
You muted yourself, Sarah. You're muted. Hold on.
Oops.
I think for the sake of the record, we should probably
Okay.
start that motion over.
Okay, sorry. When I
okay.
scanned down, I lost my mute button. Okay, starting again. I move that the permanent tax rate of $4.4614 per $1,000 of assessed value be levied for operating purposes, that a local option tax rate of $1.50 per $1,000 of assessed value be levied in support of the general fund, and that a tax amount of $14,598,585 be levied for the service of bonded debt obligations.
Adam seconds the motion.
Okay, Adam second. There we go. Okay, we once again have a duly made and duly seconded motion to approve these tax rates as listed. Once again, would the secretary please call the roll?
Sammy,
Aye.
Vince,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Josh,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Andrew,
Aye.
Margaret,
Aye.
Therese,
Aye.
Sarah,
Okay. Aye.
Strava,
Aye.
Shauna,
Aye.
and Luke.
Aye.
Okay, so again, that is 12 yeses and 2 are absent, so the motion carries.
All right, huzzah. Looks like, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a budget. So by my calculations, that leaves us to adopt the minutes from our last meeting. So for the third time tonight, I will gladly invite a motion.
I motion that we approve the minutes from our meeting of May 20th, 2001.
I second.
Okay. We have a duly made and seconded motion. This time, however, I'm going to take the prerogative to ask for unanimous consent, unless there are any objections. Okay. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. So before we adjourn and call it a session, I want to once again thank all members of staff for the excellent work that they have done putting this in. I want to thank the members of the board for placing their trust in me to run these meetings. You made it very easy to do so. This has been an absolute honor, and I'm just blown away by the professionalism and ability the staff has shown for 2 years in a row now, crafting budgets with a lot of unknowns coming from Salem and in the midst of a global pandemic. Y'all should be very proud of yourselves. You guys have done an excellent job. So all of that said, I will gladly invite a motion for us to adjourn until next year, I guess.
Mr. Chair, I move to seek unanimous consent to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
Okay. Are there any objections? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Good job, everybody.
Thank you.